said, "How would you like me to introduce you?" And he said, "Well, just say I'm recently out of jail and on probation." I said, "Be careful what you say. I'm pretty literal-minded."
I'll never say that again.
But I looked around, and I'll tell you, there are rap sheets on him everywhere. Today's Press Democrat, picture and everything, and a long list of sins. And about a month ago, the Healdsburg Tribune, with a big picture of him with lots of books behind him. Makes him look very literary, doesn't it? Anyway, Ted has been in Healdsburg since 1980. He says it was very hard to break into the small town social life at the time. He was considered an outsider for a couple of years, but he did it. It took him a couple of years, but he said he got in. And he's been in ever since. And he is showing them. He is becoming the chronicler of the Healdsburg history. He's got himself so in this town that this town can't identify itself without thinking about Ted Calvert. So all the rest of it I will leave to him, and I introduce you to you, someone you know already, Ted Calvert.
Well, thank you very much, Bella. It's a pleasure to be here. And, after 2.5 years of interviews and research at our great Healdsburg Museum Research Center that we have there, by being here makes it much more sweeter, because it's all that work, and now I get to get some of the accolades, if you will, or very good comments, or even on the newspaper. I was very fortunate. You really can't buy advertisement like that. So my name is Ted Calvert. This is my second book, Healdsburg Chronicles. It's very, very nice. But anyways, it comes with an 18-minute DVD, and the DVD is a visual tour of Healdsburg and the surrounding areas. And just making the DVD has been a great challenge and very interesting when you want to show off your town, if you will. Well, the first book, The Legacy of Fitch Mountain, came out, sold very well, sold out in fact. And then people say, well, you didn't mention the Palomar. You didn't talk about the different resorts that were there. Where are these trails you're talking about on Fitch Mountain, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized I hadn't completed my task. The goal was set. And so 2.5 years later, hopefully I've reached that point. I certainly appreciate it very much. In the research, I just want to I'm president of the Healdsburg Museum and Historical Society as well, and we have our commish, as I call her, the membership chair, Kathy Engler there, and she's going to have some cards after I speak, membership cards. But it's a great resource to have. In fact, next Sunday, the 27th, I'll be giving another lecture, and it'll be just on resorts itself. So, what's in the book? It's about where Healdsburg has been and where Healdsburg is today. I believe it captures the essence of Healdsburg, past and present. There's a very famous author, to me he's famous, he's one of my favorite, Edward Abbey, and he describes a small town as such. One of the pleasant things about small town life is that everyone, whether rich or poor, liked or disliked, has some kind of a role and place in the community. And I think that's just so real, so on the money with Healdsburg. And we have some people here who just moved here about 9 months ago or so, something like that you're saying. And I certainly welcome you to Healdsburg, and hopefully it's good and kind to you as it has been to me. The book is in 4 parts. And I'll go through the 4 parts. Little snippets of here and little snippets of there. Certainly not going to read the whole book to you. It's about the last 300 years in 30 minutes. We'll see what I can do. But anyways, part 1 is historical facts and commentaries, and each part has some quotes to it. Well, historical facts and commentaries, David McCullough, a Pulitzer Prize historian, said regarding history and historical facts. History has not just been pushed to the back burner, it's been pushed off the stove. And David Bernstein, a historian, trying to plan for the future without a sense of the past is like trying to plant cut flowers. And I like that very much so. Very much so. You know, I was very fortunate to to go into the homes, into the businesses in my interviews, and especially with the California Native American Indian. I felt, and then the tribal, the Pomo, the Wapo, and the Miwok. I felt very blessed. It wasn't easy. But once finally the door opened and I had their confidence, in fact I went to the tribal council as well to make sure everything is on the money. But I learned an awful lot about the culture. One thing is really important, I think, especially if you apply it to our culture, about elders. A Native California Heritage Common Observance is a respect for their elders. In a California Indian's perception of life, being old is being an elder. Elders are highly revered as teachers for preserving their heritage through wisdom acquired from generations of ancestral reminiscences, stories, songs, and their own experiences. And then I talk about the rancherias, because one of my, the beginning slide is going to be on the Dry Creek Rancheria Band of Pomo Indians. In California, the term rancheria refers to a total of 59 Indian settlements established by the United States for the survivors of the landless Native American Indian population. A rancheria covers a smaller area, under 100 acres, than a reservation. Well, one of the people that I got to interview, and she was the designer of the logo of the Dry Creek Rancheria Band of Pomo Indians. And I'm going to, forgive me here, I have to go over here and press a button. That's the only button you have to press right now. But she was a tribal chieftain for 15 years. And she's the one who designed the logo of the Dry Creek Rancheria Band of Pomo Indians and explained it to me. But she lived on the rancheria, 75 acres in Alexander Valley. And on top of the rancheria is the sacred burial grounds where they brought me up and I got to see it. But I was told by the council, don't put pictures about that. And the only way you can get up here is by having a personal invitation. So I was very fortunate. But the logo, Amy Martin is her name. As you see right there, she says the Dry Creek Rancheria logo symbolizes life's importance. The eagle circling, you can see the eagle over here, Rancheria is a presence, a connection to those lives before us. The black oak tree, the largest tree on the hill, was the main gathering location for the elders that were living there. The acorns, down here, represent our food. Take what you are going to use, and the rest for others. Don't destroy. Leave the rest for others and don't destroy. The circle represents the gathering. The circle going around here. The gathering of the tribal elder members at the time. The clouds on top of the circle are from the geyser steam vapors that look like clouds. The money beads, down here, the money beads hanging down from the circle represent a gift of the family made by elders. Each family would then pass it down to other family members. The abalone shells down here, attached to the money beads hanging down from the circle, represent the special occasions, gatherings to share what we have. And I thought that was very personable. I felt very fortunate to get their confidence and for them to share that very much so. And in 1821, Mexico won its independence from Spain. Of course, Spain controlled over half the world at the time, and they slowly lost their grip on half the world. And one of the famous, to us, people from the Mexican era in the 1800s was General Mariano Vallejo, Mariano Guadalupe Vallejo. And in the book it says, Vallejo was Mexico's lieutenant commander of the Presidio San Francisco. I spent 2.5 years in the Presidio San Francisco with the Army. The general wasn't there. In 1834, his nephew Jose Figueroa, it's all in the family, governor of Alta California, promoted Vallejo to general and ordered him to establish a military presence and to colonize, keyword colonize, as in ranchos. Alta California, which is now the state of California. General Vallejo moved to Sonoma, which was the northern frontier at the time for Mexico in Alta California. He moved to the Valley of Sonoma. Two reasons. Number one, to establish a presence there because Fort Ross had Russians there at the time. So they wanted to have control and, hey, we're here, folks. Another one is to set up and to colonize that area. So the government of Mexico awarded him a total of 66,000 acres for his rancho. 66,000 acres is 100 square miles. That's a big footprint. And today, well, he called it Rancho de Petaluma. And today it's Adobe State Park, an Adobe Road.